Size meets size. And power meets power.
Oh, he got nailed!
Only one thing will matter. Who lands first?
Oh, my goodness!
22 combined first-round finishes.
Wow!
And 12 total knockouts.
Junior Dos Santos is a scary man.
Junior Dos Santos.
Unbelievable!
Shane Carwin.
Oh, he got he's out. The winner gets Cain Velasquez for the UFC heavyweight title.
And the first man to ever fight in 4 different weight classes, Kenny Florian makes his featherweight debut against 16-1 Diego Nunes. While Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt Damian Maia takes on the Filipino wrecking machine, Mark Munoz.
That is some serious power! And here we go!
Welcome everybody to Vancouver and UFC 131. On behalf of the UFC, it's great to be back here in Vancouver, British Columbia. Last year, 2010, this beautiful city and province hosted the 2010 Olympics, and our first UFC event in Vancouver, UFC 115. This year, your city gets to host the Stanley Cup Finals and the second UFC event. Clearly, we have a knack of attracting big events, and this Saturday is going to be no exception. Before I introduce our President Dana White, I want to remind everybody about our weigh-ins. Our weigh-ins are going to happen tomorrow at 2 o'clock Pacific time at the Jack Pool Plaza down on Canada Way, just to the northwest of the Vancouver Convention Center. It's a new location and a new time, so the fighters will be on the scales at 2 o'clock Pacific at the Jack Pool Plaza down just north of the Vancouver Convention Center. So with no further ado, this time last year, our President Dana White was asked, after an incredibly successful UFC 115, would we come back to Vancouver? He said, you bet we will. And we always know Dana's a man of his words, so with no further ado, I'd like to introduce the President of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, Dana White.
All right. It's good to be back, everybody. A little weird being from Boston and being here today, but whatever. Calm down. Obviously, I love Canada. I've said it a million times. I'll probably say it a million more. Last time we were here, it was very successful. We're back again, and I'm pumped for this, obviously, the whole card. But I got to say this. This is probably one of the best heavyweight fights we've had in a long time. Obviously, some bad things happened. Brock went through some stuff. He had to pull out of the fight, but we were very, and I mean very fortunate to be able to replace it with this main event. I am very, very excited and pumped for this fight. Anybody who's a hardcore fan or somebody who just dabbles in MMA knows what an awesome fight this main event is going to be on Saturday night. So without getting crazy, I'm going to get right into it and open it up for questions for the media. Yes? I actually love it. I think it's great to be here at the same time. The game's on Friday. This place is going to be rocking. Friday and Saturday, both nights are going to be a good night for sports, a good weekend for sports here in Vancouver. I'm really excited about it.
Wait for the mic, please.
Yeah, well, you know, the first time we go into it, let me tell you what, next time I go to Toronto, I'm not expecting to sell 56,000 tickets. You know, it's the way it is. When you go into a new market, it explodes, it takes off. What people don't realize still is we're still in a recession or whatever you want to call this thing. And right now, the concert industry is getting smashed with ticket sales. The UFC is still doing pretty good. You know, we didn't blow it out here like we did last time, but I'm very happy with the gate. And this is going to be a successful show for us. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I don't want to get killed over there.
Dana, Craig Nielsen from Team Radio here in Vancouver. What are the factors that you would say that ticket sales haven't gone quite as well? In fact, it's not a sellout yet. Is it the Canucks, the recession like you mentioned? What, in your opinion, is the reason that they haven't sold out yet?
I think it's a combination of everything. I think it's, you know, you put it all together, and that's why the thing hasn't sold. Listen, It ain't over yet. Today's Wednesday. We still, we're going to sell tickets right up until Saturday. We have a walk-up on Saturday. This event has been successful and will be.
I asked you this last time. Are you going to come back again?
Yes, we will. We will be back to Vancouver again. I told you guys. I'll do a fight in Canada every weekend if we could.
Thank you.
That's it? It's over? Yeah. There were incidents outside the arena? What happened? There was alleged gay bashing after the event? I didn't hear about that. With what? UFC fans? What?
They're going to boost policing because of it. Does it concern you? Do incidents after your events concern you?
Did you say it was UFC related? Yeah. It was? I didn't know about it. I didn't hear about it. I don't know. I couldn't honestly speak on it. If it happened, that's unfortunate, and, I didn't know. All right, Neil?
Doi Wakabayashi here, Bleacher Report MMA. My question's for Sam Stout. Sam, can you speak a little bit about how excited you are to be fighting here in front of the Canadian fans in Vancouver?
I've fought a couple times now in Canada. I've fought on the first 3 UFC events held in Montreal. And, I'm very excited to be on this side of the country fighting. Vancouver's a beautiful city. I love coming out here any chance I get. And, to be fighting a guy like Yves Edwards here is just icing on the cake for me.
Dana, Neil Davidson, the Canadian Press. What have you heard from the Velasquez camp in terms of his health and training? And do you have a date for when the winner of the main event on Saturday might meet the champion?
Great question. I was hoping that it was going to be a little sooner than it's going to be. They say that he's still recovering from it and getting back into training. So we're hoping the winner of this fight in the next, hopefully 4 or 5 months.
Dana, I'm Al Campbell from... Dana.
Hey,
I'm Al Campbell. I'm from Xinhua News Agency, which is China's national news agency.
All right, welcome.
When are you? I heard you open a Beijing office. When are you going to move into the China market, please?
We're working on that. You are correct. We did open an office in Beijing, and we're securing television deals over there. We've done some fights on the internet. The internet is huge there, and we're just planning now on the exact day when we can get in there. We're working on talent too from China, and soon. I can't give you an exact date, but ASAP.
How can you explain the global success of UFC? Have you looked at every market to make sure that this is a global circuit?
Yeah, one of the things that we always believe is that fighting is the one sport that crosses borders very well. Football, American football in America, there's nothing bigger than it. They've spent billions of dollars to try to break into other countries. It hasn't worked. Soccer's big in a lot of places around the world, not that big in the United States. Hockey's huge up here. It's not that huge in the United States, But fighting works everywhere. You put 2 guys in an octagon, they can use any martial art they want. It crosses all language barriers, color barriers, because at the end of the day, I don't care what color you are, what language you speak, or what country you come from. We're all human beings, and fighting's in our DNA, man. We get it, and we like it.
This question is for Junior Dos Santos. Junior, this is Rafa from eloctagono.com. You've been away from the octagon for a while now, and you've been busy, with the show and everything. And were you worried when Brock got injured that you were going to be delayed a little bit more, before Shane jumped in? But were you worried that you were going to come back? And how difficult has it been to be away for so long?
Yeah, I'm too much time stopped. My last fight was 10 months ago. So, but I'm not too worried. I'm glad because the UFC didn't change the date of the fight. So now I got a fight next Saturday. And I'm ready for this.
Mike Johnston, Examiner.com. Question for Kenny. Kenny, you've worked in Canada with UFC 83 and WEC 49 doing commentary. You train in Canada. What are your thoughts on finally getting to fight in Canada for the first time in your career? And also, How has training with Firas in Montreal at TriStar helped you evolve as a fighter?
It's awesome. You know, obviously I spent a lot of time in Montreal training, and I love coming here. You know, the fans are as passionate as it gets, and just a beautiful city here in Vancouver. This is my second time here, and very excited to get the opportunity to train with Firas. When I switched that up, it was one of the best decisions I made for my career. Every training camp I get better. We're always evolving. I have so many different training partners to choose from, and man, I feel better all the time. So it's been awesome.
And a question for Shane. Cain Velasquez told me that he believes Junior Dos Santos has the best boxing in mixed martial arts and certainly in the heavyweight division. A lot's being made in this fight about your power versus his speed, but how do you break down your technical boxing skills and your overall striking compared to Junior and compared to other heavyweights?
You know, Junior, he's got great boxing. Let's face it, it's what's got him here. You know, he's one of the top heavyweights in the world and one of the top fighters in the world. And, you know, I'm no new opponent to top opponents here in the UFC. So, you know, this is the fourth top 10 guy I fought in the UFC. And, you know, I'm excited to bring my skills and, you know, see what happens on Saturday. This is it's going to be an explosive fight. I believe in my power and knocking people out, and I know he does as well.
Hey, Dana, Darcy McBride from Team Radio in the back. I got a question for Junior, but first I wanted to ask you, we heard a lot of rumblings yesterday online about the possible purchase of the G4 network, and we've also heard rumblings of Bellator possibly finding a home on Spike. Maybe elaborate on that a little bit, and
or maybe not.
Or maybe not, right? But maybe elaborate on that a little bit and let us know maybe if there are plans to move the Ultimate Fighter, or is it just too early to really give us a word?
What I said, and I said this to the media at the last fight when we all talked, we're talking to everybody right now. We're talking to everybody. There is no deal with anybody. We're talking to everybody. If that was true, trust me, I'd be up here talking about it right now.
Fair enough. And for Junior, you spoke a minute ago about being away from the cage for 10 months. Is it kind of nice to come in and be able to have a fight, you know, before potentially fighting for a title instead of having to fight for a title after a 10-month layoff?
Ele está perguntando se 10 meses desde da última luta tua, se você se sente mais confortável lutando uma vez antes que você luta pelo título, tendo tanto tempo sem lutar.
Yeah, when my manager told me about Cain Velasquez couldn't fight against me, I asked UFC and my manager for another fight, you know. Then they put me to do the show. Yeah, I'm glad, you know, too much stop. So we are fighters, and you have to be fighting to be in shape. So I'm glad to be fighting again before the title.
Dana, hi.
Hi.
This is Nadine with BCMMA. I actually have a question. I hear that Joe Rogan's been training over at Eddie Bravo's. Any chance we're going to see him in the ring?
I doubt it. Joe Rogan's been training for a long time, even when he was back on News Radio. That's why he's passionate about the sport, and B, knows so much about it. He's very into it. He's very good at jiu-jitsu. He comes from Taekwondo, but I doubt you'll see Joe fighting anytime soon.
And one more question, please. Now, I understand Carwin was set up to be fighting with John, Olav, and Nemo. And can we expect to see a rematch or anything like that coming up in the future?
Well, I think this is a much bigger fight. No disrespect, but this is a much bigger fight for him. He jumped at the opportunity. And like I said, this is one of the things that people love. People who are huge fight fans love good heavyweight fights. And this is one of the best heavyweight fights we've had in a long time. It just happened this way, and it's a huge opportunity. He jumped at it, and the winner of this fight gets Cain Velasquez. So his former opponent is going to have to work his way up to him now.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Dana, it's Craig from Team Radio again. You touched on it earlier. You're from Boston. Kenny, you're from Boston. Just wondering if we can get both of your thoughts on coming into Canuck country here. It's overwhelming, the media coverage, obviously, that the Canucks are getting right now. And you guys are Bostonians. I don't know, is it ironic that you guys are coming in? And are you cheering for Boston? Or Dana, are you going to go to the game tomorrow night?
I came in town last night and tweeted. It was right after the game was over. What's up, Vancouver? And I didn't get some very good responses. People weren't too happy here yesterday. And I'm not, listen, you know, I got a big mouth and I talk a lot of smack sometimes. I'm not messing with this whole hockey thing, man. Just like religion to you guys up here. I'm not, listen, I'm from Boston. I'm impartial. Kenny, you go.
I'm in the same boat. I'm not going to sit here and, you know, say go Bruins, but go Bruins. No, I'm excited. It's been an unbelievable series of hockey. I got a few buddies on I got a few buddies on the Bruins team, so hey, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Either way, you know, it's been a great series, so I'm happy for them.
And there were more fights last night than there probably will be on Saturday. Yeah. It's one of the craziest games I've ever seen. Yeah. And I only saw the highlights.
Hi, Dana. Hi, here.
Yep.
I'm Victor from Rede TV Brazil. It's obviously that everybody is a great MMA fighter, but everybody has his own style. Like Cigano is a great boxer, and Diego is a great Muay Thai and kickboxing. Do you still think that the UFC has the old feeling to put facing each other, like a great jiu-jitsu guy against a great Muay Thai guy, or a great wrestling guy versus a great boxer guy?
Well, these days you better be great at everything or you're in a lot of trouble. And one of the things stylistically that makes this fight so interesting is, obviously the power in both of these guys. They can knock you out with either hand at any moment. The other thing is he's got good, powerful stand-up. He's got great hands. He's got good takedown defense. He's got great wrestling. If he gets down, he's got good jiu-jitsu. It's, you know, this is a really, really good fight. I'm not up here yapping just to pump up the fight. Anybody who knows anything about the sport knows this is probably one of the best heavyweight fights we've had in a long time. And stylistically, these two match up very well.
Thank you.
For Yves, over here. A year ago, you weren't even in the UFC. Now you've won 2 in a row, and here you are at the press conference getting a lot more attention. Can you put into words what this last year has been like for you to get this sort of revival of your career in a sense?
It's been pretty good the whole time since my fight with Joe Stevenson and I left the UFC. I've wanted to work my way back in. I think the time that I had outside of the UFC, made some mistakes, did some things wrong, but I think by doing the right things in training, doing the right things in camps, I've been able to get back in. And with the UFC being what it is now, it's a completely new animal. The fans are, it's crazy, like, to see this happening. I mean, we never had fans, like, this many people at post-fight press conferences before, you know, that were wide open to the public. This is kind of crazy to me, but I've come to appreciate it, and it's really good to be back. You know, I ran into Dana a few times while I was not signed, and I told him, you know, I'm just working to get back home, and it really feels like I'm back home.
And when you were on the first card that you came back, that was in Austin, Texas, which obviously there's a sort of hometown connection there, and then you come back and you beat Cody. Now that you've won 2 in a row, do you feel a little more confident in your place in the UFC where you don't, obviously every fight is important, but you know what I mean? It's not like you're just being thrown in there. You're actually now a solid member fighting on Spike TV of the lightweight division.
You know, it's one of those things, especially being in the lightweight division. It's weird because I think my style does ensure some kind of job security, but at the same time, this is the biggest division, you know. There's tons of guys, so I just go out there and put it all on the line and leave those decisions that are out of my hands to those guys that make that kind of money, you know. That stuff is way above my pay grade, so I just go out there and fight as hard as I can and try to put it on these guys, you know. I got a great opponent in this fight, and I think because of the opponent, this fight's just lining up to be a great stylistic matchup. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to get home on Sunday and watch the tape.
And just for Dana on Yves, he was sort of like the king without a crown in the lightweight division a few years ago, a real veteran. What's it like having him back and seeing him do well?
Yeah, we've always liked him. He's a great guy. He's a great fighter. And this obviously is on it's on Spike TV, TVA, and Sportsnet, by the way. This is a great fight. Again, good stylistic matchup. Both these guys are great strikers, and I expect that to be a war too. But yeah, it's good to have Yves back.
Dana, in terms of the setup Saturday night, there's a hockey game in the arena on Friday night. The setup itself of the octagon and everything, will this weekend, this event be more hectic than usual, or is this just normal?
Unfortunately for you guys, it got a little better now that it's not a clinch game. People won't be hanging out into the arena for another 2 or 3 hours after. But yeah, we've done this before. This isn't something new where there's been an event the Friday before us. You know, we've been doing this for almost 11 years now, and our production staff is used to it. We'll get this thing turned around quick.
Have you ever been in a city during the same weekend when there's an event this big, you know, Stanley Cup Finals, you know, it's bigger than just, you know, an Elton John concert or something,
Right.
you know?
Right. I don't know. This is probably not only, you know, maybe we've been in the same city as something else, but not something that means so much to a city as this does. You know, definitely this is, and we knew it when we heard that, when we knew that this was going to be the game and it was going to be Friday before us, we knew it was going to be big.
And a question for Diego. Diego, a lot's being made of your opponent's weight cut, and a lot of the focus is on Kenny in this fight. But what do you think a win for you, if you're to win Saturday, would do in terms of the title picture? Or is that something you're thinking about?
Eles estão falando que muitas pessoas estão falando do teu adversário Kenny Florian, a primeira vez ele baixando de peso. E o que tu acha, você vencendo essa luta, o que tu acha, onde você está na lista para disputar o cinturão?
É a mudança da minha vida, né? Vai mudar minha vida completamente. Acho que esse é um presente de Deus para mim. E eu vou aproveitar ao máximo, vou agarrar com unhas e dentes, vou dar minha vida, meu coração, cara, porque isso para mim é um sonho sendo realizado.
He said, "This is, you know, this is a dream come true. I've been wanting this my whole life, and I'm going to give it my all, and I'm going to take this opportunity. I feel this is a gift from God, and I'm going to take it and run with it, and do whatever I can to put on a performance for you guys."
And this is a major fight for him. This kid's 16-1. Fighting Kenny Florian and beating Kenny Florian means something. He beats Kenny Florian, this thing's going to put this kid on the map. This is a life-changing fight for him.
Hey, question for Sam Stout, over here. You've won a lot of Fight of the Night bonuses. I'm wondering what you've been doing with all that money.
You know, I've been pretty smart with the money. I got myself a house, I got myself a car, and you know, tried to put some money away. This is a great sport to be in, but it doesn't. You know, there's not always the most job security, and I gotta plan for the long term. So I'm trying to be smart with that money.
I got a question for Dana. I'm Thomas Dingbjørn from Norway. You talked about having a UFC event in Sweden. Is that going to happen anytime soon, or?
Yes, it will. We're working on that. It was actually looked like it was going to happen this year, and then it fell through. But that shows we're committed, and yes, we're going there. I don't know when. Soon, I hope.
Is Einemo going to fight there as well, do you think?
Who?
John Olav Einemo.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't even have the card yet. I don't know who's going to fight there yet.
Yeah. I think he should.
Okay.
Dana?
Yep.
Here again.
Hey.
Next week you are going to Brazil to do the official announcement of the UFC Rio. And what's your expectation about this event? And is there anything that has not been said that you can say to us now?
Are you talking about me going to Brazil next week?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going down there for the press conference next week, and no, I mean, I don't know what else to say other than we're pumped, we're excited, we're, you know, I think it's going to be huge.
Thank you.
Not excited about the flight down there, though.
Dana, right over here.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could give your comment on Kenny moving between 4 different weight classes. It's you've kind of made light of it and given some jokes on him, but it's quite an accomplishment to be able to move down in that weight. And if he is able to get a win over Diego, where does that put him in 145?
That's amazing. When you really look at Kenny Florian's career, and I've told the story a million times, I won't say it again, but I found him in Boston, and he had what was your record then? 1-0, 1-1, something like that?
Just a couple fights.
Yeah, he had a couple fights, and he came into the Ultimate Fighter at 185 pounds and made it to the finale. And then, I mean, look at the career he's had in all the different weight classes. And it's funny because as the thing has grown, he's kind of grown with it and had to bounce around to wherever it fit. We did 185, so he came in at 85. Then he went down, what'd you go from there, 70?
Yeah, there was no 55 division at the time.
Right,
Yeah.
there was no 55-pound division. So when that opened, he went to 55. Now this division opened. You know, when we had a 125 division, let's see what happens with Kenny. But yeah, no, it's been an incredible career. It just goes to show how talented he really is to be able to fight in all those different weight classes. If you look, even at some of the greatest fighters who've ever fought, like BJ and some of these other guys who've wanted to bounce through all these weight divisions, nobody has ever done it like Kenny Florian has. That's a big fight. This kid's a great fighter. I told you, he's got a record of like 16-1. He's just coming off a win over Mike Brown. You know, this is a big fight for both guys. Obviously, Kenny's first fight at 45. He wants to win this fight and work his way up the division. And if he can beat Kenny, it's going to be big.
Dana, just you have the Strikeforce Grand Prix next week, and I wonder if the winner of that tournament ultimately will end up in the mix with these guys.
I have no clue. I don't know what we're doing with that. We'll see what happens. No clue. You could probably ask this guy right here, and he could tell you more about it than I could.
And just to follow up on that, though, I mean, there's been talk that the winner of that would be, quote, the greatest heavyweight in the world. So wouldn't you, I know you always like to find out who's the best, so wouldn't that be something just to make sense to say, hey,
say that again?
Well, no, there's been people who said the winner of that Grand Prix would be the best heavyweight in the world.
Right.
And you've always been a guy that said, I want to find out who's the best.
The winner of that
so
one would be the best heavyweight in Strikeforce.
Wouldn't that?
And then we would find out when the two, the only way you find out who the best fighter in the world is when all the best fighters.
Right,
in the
and that's
world
what I guess I'm saying is why not? What would be the logistical problem to prevent that?
I think I think we have a contract with that we're still trying to figure out how this is all going to work. Dos Santos versus Carwin.
Woo. For Junior, a couple times yesterday you said you have a feeling that Shane is going to try to take you to the ground right away. Just wondering if you could tell us why you think that.
Yeah, I think Shane Carwin, he's coming from wrestling, so I think I'm faster than him, and as soon he feels my hands, my speed, I think he's gonna try to take me down.
This question is for Shane Carwin. Many of us know that you are an engineer by trade. Can you explain to us how do your skills as a professional engineer translate into hand-to-hand combat? How do they help, in all honesty?
The more I get punched, the less I know. So there is no translation.
One more question for Shane here. Shane, you were interim champion once in the UFC, and you were probably seconds away from the ref taking you from on top of Brock Lesnar. Can you talk to us a little bit about what happened to you? Obviously, people thought you punched yourself out, but then it was your legs that kind of left you in the octagon against Brock Lesnar. And how have you looked at the opportunity that you got when you got the phone call from Dana about Brock's injury again, and again, Brock having something to do with everything around Shane Carwin?
Yeah, at that fight, it was unfortunate what happened. There's no excuses. I walked out of there. I left everything in the octagon. I basically crawled out of there. And, you get back, you regroup with your coaches and team, and there's things that you have to work on. And those are the things that, we've addressed. And, it's unfortunate for Brock and his family that he had to go through the surgery and had diverticulitis again, and hopefully it's all corrected. You pray for something in that situation. You don't want to see any athlete or anybody have to go through those type of situations. But I jumped at the chance to fight Junior. He's a top heavyweight. I'm excited for this fight. And, the fans should be excited for this fight because I guarantee that we're two explosive guys and we both hit hard.
Dana, have you talked to Mark Cuban to see if they don't conflict the schedule for the parade next week with whatever events Strikeforce Grand Prix has going on?
I have not talked to him. I actually, when they beat the Lakers, I talked to him. I congratulated him when he beat the Lakers. And, I haven't talked to him since.
Shane, I know Junior's talked about how he was eager to get back into the cage and he didn't enjoy the 10 months in between. Obviously, we've spoken before, and you said you were going a little stir-crazy not being able to help the guys at Grudge, but how important was it to take that time off, get the neck surgery taken care of, make some of the changes with your diet, and get into the best shape you've been in heading into a fight?
Yeah, you know, it's like I said after that fight, this injury's been nagging me for a while. I've had nerve blocks put into my neck to help the inflammation on the nerves. Unfortunately, the bone grew in around the nerves bad enough to where it was closing them off on the right side, and you know, the surgeon said that you know, we couldn't put the Band-Aid on it anymore, and the surgery was necessary. So you know, rehab's a long process after that, especially after they tear through all the layers of muscle and stuff. So you know, missing the guys on the team and not being able to help out, you know, guys like Brendan Schaub and Elliot Marshall and Nate Marquardt, you know, that probably hurt the worst. And you know, just to be back with those guys, you know, they're my family. It's a great opportunity, and I just feel really blessed to be here.
We'll take a couple more questions.
We'll take a couple more questions. Anybody? Right here.
Kenny, I know we harassed you about it pretty good yesterday, but how is the weight cut coming? Is everything going according to plan?
It is. You know, it is. It's been. I think you got to do the work before you really get on fight week, and that's something I've been doing. So I tell you what, I thought it would be a lot harder, and it hasn't. It's actually gone very smoothly, and everything's on schedule.
You talked about the lifestyle changes you had to make, you know, a long time out in order to make it feasible.
Yeah.
Does that make you think about how long you really want to stay at this weight class, as you have to make that many lifestyle changes?
I really haven't looked that far ahead. I've just been looking at this fight, you know. I do know that this has been the hardest I've ever trained for a fight, and the best training camp I've ever had. And, you know, just looking at Diego Nunes right now, and that's what's important.
This question is for Ken Flo. Ken Flo, we do understand that many fighters come from terrific struggles financially and tough backgrounds in their lives as they're growing up. You conversely have come from a relatively privileged background. Can you explain to us the dynamic? Where does your drive come from?
Yeah, you know, my father was a very hardworking guy. My mom was very hardworking. I'm one of 6 kids. My dad was a doctor, but nothing was ever handed to him. You know, he came from Peru. Both my parents are from Peru, and they wanted to make a better life for themselves, and never made excuses and just worked hard to get what they wanted. And when it came to their kids, they didn't hand anything to us either. If we wanted to go get it, we wanted to go to the movies and get money, then what are you doing here? Go work, go do it. You know, they didn't hand us fish. They taught us how to fish. And you know, my dad, the big thing was, as a Peruvian American, you know, coming to this country, he said he had to work twice as hard as everybody, and that's one thing he instilled on us was you got to outwork everybody. And there's always going to be someone better than you, but there's no reason why they should outwork you.
We'll take a couple questions from the fans.
Yeah,
Please
we'll
wait for a
take a couple of
microphone.
fan questions. Raise your hands. If you're asking me about tickets or anything else, I'm tweeting tickets, okay? So,
just a couple questions. With the Ultimate Fighter supposed to be Dos Santos and Lesnar, would you do that fight again?
what was the question?
Dos Santos.
Will we do that fight again?
Yeah.
Well, now we're in this position. We're gonna have to see what happens on Saturday. We know that the winner Saturday will fight Cain Velasquez for the title. So whoever wins Saturday, whoever doesn't win Saturday, we'll make the decision.
I think it's a better
plus we got to see what's going to happen with Brock. Brock's still got to make 100% recovery, and we're hoping that that's going to be by January, and then we'll see what the landscape looks like then.
It's a better fight, anyways. For Kenny and Diego is.
No, he's saying this is.
This is a better fight. That's what I meant. Carwin Dos Santos better fight. But for Kenny and Diego, is that a #1 contender fight? I know Kenny.
Kenny and it's a good question. Can't answer that question. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Huh? We'll see what happens. What are you, Kenny's agent?
Hi, for Shane and JDS. Do you guys see this fight going past the first round?
You know, I can tell that my trainer's pushed, and you know, it's for me to go 3 rounds and stuff. But you know, as heavy as heavyweights throw, you know, it's don't leave the TV.
You said you think it's going to get out the first round.
Yeah, I think it's not it's not will be by decision for sure. It's gonna be it's gonna done first before.
I was just wondering if Diego does beat Kenny. I thought Diego and Jose were friends. Is he all right fighting Jose if he gets a title shot?
Diego, ele está falando que você e o Zé Aldo treinam juntos, são amigos. Se você vencer essa luta e eles botam para lutar pelo cinturão, você luta?
Bom, eu sou um atleta do UFC, sou empregado, eu apenas assino um contrato. O José Aldo é meu irmão, meu brother, a gente treina junto, mas a gente, tanto eu como ele, estamos a cargo do UFC para responder como eles quiserem. Então, se tiver que rolar, se for da vontade deles, a gente tem para trabalhar, pois a gente depende disso.
He said, "You're damn right I will, and I look forward to it."
Yeah. Pretty much. That's what he said. He said, you know, they're training partners. They're like brothers. But he works for the UFC. So does Jose. Diego has dreams just like Jose does. And if the fight has to go down, we're gonna fight.
I love it. Thank you all very much for coming today. Appreciate it. I'm gonna square these guys off so you guys can get some photo ops. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. I'm gonna hop off for a second too. How are you? Boston sucks! Bruin sucks! What's going on, girl? Bruin sucks! Go Nunes! Go for it. Yeah. You want a sec? You want me to tell them to look for you? Okay. Thank you for your help. Translators, did you get the other two? Good?